Lower than expected weekly jobless claims boost Wall Street as data eases worries of labor market weakening too quickly. The Dow rallies almost 700 points while the Nasdaq and S&P 500 clock in over 2% gains. Asian markets mirror Wall Street indices as US stocks bounce back. Major markets up over 1% in the region. GIFT Nifty is indicating a sharply higher start for the Indian market. Oil prices edge higher for the third session after US jobless claims data eased demand concerns and simmering tension in West Asia further boosted prices. Shares of electric two-wheeler maker Ola Electric will list on the exchanges today. The issue price was at 76 rupees a share and IPO was subscribed over 4 times. Neeraj Chopra wins India's first silver medal of Paris Olympics in men's javelin, while the Indian men's hockey team wins bronze after beating Spain 2-1. Good morning in the Mumbai News Center. I'm Sonal Bhutra. You're watching Power Breakfast. Those are the top headlines. Some rebound in the global markets. That is something we'll discuss in greater detail. First up, let's take a look at the Asian markets. It was a strong handover that we got from the Wall Street, and that is something which is reflecting in the Asian markets as well right now. The Taiwanese index, which is up 3%. We have the Hang Seng, which is high by 1.6%. Across the board, it's a green-looking screen. Nikkei too has gained 1.6% in trade right now. Shanghai is up around 0.5%. So positive cues coming in from the US markets rubbing off on Asian markets. The GIFT Nifty, that will come up for you on the screen because that one is indicating a gap up opening for our own markets, 264 points higher. We've been seeing losses consecutively. Yesterday as well, Nifty was down 180 points. Looks like it could be a green-looking Friday for the bulls today. Let's talk about the US markets now. Wall Street ended higher as stocks rebounded after plunging earlier in the week. The latest weekly jobless claims number helped ease investors' concerns about the strength of the labor market and state of the US economy. S&P advanced 2.3%, posting its best session since November 2022. Dow Jones surged nearly 1.8%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq added 2.87%. CNBC's Pippa Stevens gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
Markets rebounded Thursday as a drop in initial jobless claims appear to calm investor fears of a possible recession. The Dow added 683 points, the S&P climbed 120 points for its best day of the year, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq advanced 464 points. Mortgage rates fell this week to the lowest level in more than a year. According to Freddie Mac, the average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, which is the most popular option in the U.S., is now at 6.47%. The lower rates offers some relief for buyers who've been priced out of the market and for sellers who've been locked in with lower rates on their existing homes. And Amazon's multi-billion-dollar investment in AI firm Anthropic is drawing scrutiny from British regulators. The Competition and Markets Authority said today it has begun a Phase 1 investigation into whether the investment and partnership could harm competition in the UK. Amazon responded by saying the collaboration does not raise any competition concerns. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back to you in Mumbai.
Okay, that is the U.S. market action, but let's also listen to some market opinions coming in from experts on Fed's inflation fight and the U.S. economy.
I think the good news is on the inflation part, and we've seen this with other central banks, I think there's been enough progress that the Fed can really feel comfortable with starting to ease rates. You know, services inflation is still running high, but I think with the economy moderating, you can have more confidence that's going to come down. So I think regardless, before we've gotten this weaker data, the Fed was setting up for cutting in September. Our current path is that they're going to deliver a 50 basis point in September, another 50 basis point after that, and then a 25 at the December meeting, so 125 basis points. That is based on our U.S. team's view the economy is going to continue to slow down from here. But that being said, there are a lot of risks. You know, the data, I think, have a lot of question marks around them, and you could see a slower path of easing depending on how the data evolve in coming weeks.
If we think back July 11th with the June CPI that was softer than expected, followed by some additional softer data prints, culminating with the jobs report last Friday. In addition to that, you also had some good but not great mega cap tech earnings that disappointed high expectations. And then you had this really powerful unwind of the yen specifically carry trade as you had those interest rate differentials collapse and the volatility double in the yen. So I think it's a combination of factors, some fundamental that were embers, and then some technical that really threw fuel in the fire. So in terms of is the worst behind us, it depends not just on the data, but also how far along we are in that unwind of the carry trade, concentrated positioning, and an unwind of momentum.
Okay, let's also listen into Timothy Moore of Goldman Sachs discussing the Japanese economy, the liquidity in Japanese yen after the yen carry trade.
There's clear evidence in the markets that at least some portion of the trade has been unwound. I think a fair portion of it, given the large amount of liquidity in the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen currency markets, the stability of the move, which clearly triggered stop loss provisions. So any risk manager would have forced holding to be unwound. If you look at balance of payments of data, there's over $2 trillion that's gone out of Japan over the last many years because Japan's had low interest rates and has been in deflation for a long period of time. The spread differential, the rate differential between U.S. rates and Japanese rates having compressed, you still have a wide absolute gap of about 4%. So in other words, it's a lot cheaper to borrow in yen and invest elsewhere.
Okay, all right, that's the global market action. But how will these cues impact our own markets? We have a research team joining in with what the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you, and it's a happy Friday. And Hermaz, let me come to you. It'll be a happy Friday for the bulls as well.
Morning, Sonal. It's a happy Friday indeed, and that's what the bulls will be hoping for, considering this absolutely topsy-turvy, volatile roller coaster, whatever you'd like to call it, the week that we have had. And it's been a struggle for the bulls all through this week, particularly to cross that 24,350 mark on the Nifty. We have had multiple instances of the index testing those levels. Yesterday was no different, but then we have reversed every single day from those levels. So that will be a struggle, but that may change today, considering the positive handover that we have had from Wall Street. It was the best day for the S&P 500 since November of 22. The Dow also gained over 700 points, so that will give the bulls a lot of comfort. Asia has opened higher. The gift Nifty is also pointing to a 260-point uptick, and if that is the case, we will open at those levels of around 350, 360, and that will be the question as to whether that gap up will sustain and the bulls have enough appetite to take the Nifty past that 350 mark. Now, for the week so far, both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank are down around 2.5%, and it could have been far worse had it not been for an underperforming HDFC Bank yesterday, keeping its hand up and ensuring that the Nifty losses were kept in check and the Nifty Bank ending in the green. There's some big events today. Ola Electric will be listing. The IPO subscribed 4 times. A big block deal in Nexus is in store as well. Some important earnings today from stocks like Trent, which has run up significantly, Berger Paints, Jubilant Foodworks, and of course some important questions as well, as I just mentioned, whether this gap up will sustain. The railway PSUs will be in focus because RVNL's numbers were disappointing yesterday. The stock fell, took the others with it as well. IRCON's numbers were not any better either, so we'll see if the selling pressure there continues and whether IT sees some reversal after the rebound we have seen in the Nasdaq overnight. Now, some other earnings reactions also from LIC Biocon. It's an earnings reaction day, but the focus will be on the index and whether the bulls can end the week on a high.
Okay, all right, that's the market setup. Let me go across to Sudarshan, who's looking very happy this Friday. Sudarshan, good morning. What are the stocks to watch out for in today's trading session?
Morning, Sonal. So we are in the last leg of earnings. So for today, we'll start with Asher Motors. Earnings were in line to mild beat. Revenue has increased 10% and margin has come in at 26.5% versus 25.6%. For Concor, it was a mixed set of earnings. Domestic realizations have declined while Exim has improved. For sale, earnings were largely in line, but for going forward, higher debt and weak outlook may weigh on the stock. Margin has come in line at 9.3%. For LIC, it was a mixed set of earnings. New business premium was higher while margin has missed estimates. AP, that is annualized premium equivalent, has come at 11,560 crore versus estimate of 12,460 crore. And VNB margin has come at 13.9% versus estimate of 15%. For Biocon, earnings were a miss. Margin was down 290 bips, but company anticipates stronger growth in H2 FY25. ABB earnings were largely higher than estimates. Margin has expanded to 526 bips and order backlog has risen 7% YOY. Astral earnings were a mild miss. EBITDA has increased 6% while margin was down 20 bips here. Keep an eye on MCX. SEBI has approved Parveena Rai's name as MD and CEO, and she is currently Chief Operating Officer of NPCI. In other earnings, companies which have reported good set of earnings were Oil India, Cochin Shipyard, Dream Fox, Mayur Uniquotors, Anthony West, Bharat Rasayan, Indian Hume Pipe, JB Chemicals, Sandhar Technologies, GSPL, HBL Power and Soba. And companies with weak earnings are Birla Corp, New India Assurance, AstraZeneca, Ircon International, Vartech Warburg, Global Health and Sansera Engineering.
Okay, all right. So that's a long list of stocks that we have to keep on our radar. Thank you, Sudarshan, for that. Let's talk about the F&O space. A lot of action there as well. Manglam is joining in now. Good morning, Manglam.
Good morning. So, if you look at the Nifty expiry yesterday, it happened quite within the range, but the lower end of the range. The Nifty ended about, 200 points off the highs, ended about 180 points lower, but it wasn't the Nifty Bank. The Nifty Bank was actually in the green. It was the IT index that dragged the frontline index lower. And now with an up move that we've seen on the Nasdaq overnight, with the GIFT Nifty indicating a sharp up move, do we see further short covering or not? Is the big question that we get an answer to. Why do I say that? Well, because the market opens right in the supply zone, 24,350 to 24,400. Nifty has faced supply above that 24,350 mark on the last 4 occasions. Yesterday, there was net outflows by the FIs, but there were a couple of large trades as well. So let's see whether that pans out. But what really did not do well was the Nifty futures. Actually, even as the Nifty fell from the highs, what fell further were the Nifty futures, with the premium compressed from 70 points to about 20 points. And that was telling you that the FII shorting continued. Yesterday as well, they sold about 3,000 crores in index futures. They unwound 32,000 long contracts, added 17,000 short contracts. And from 1,66,000 long contracts, the FII short contracts have, or rather long contracts have now moved all the way down to just 15,000. So from 66% long exposure, it's down to 51% in just 6 sessions. And that may provide further fuel for short covering if the market sustains the up move in today's trading session. What are these levels that we're looking for? The option writers too are positioned for supply between 24,400, 24,350. We've seen writing at 24,300 call and 24,200 call as well. The combined premium tells you that if we sustain above that, then all the way up to the 20-day moving average of 24,450 thereabouts opens up for the market itself. Once it crosses that, then maybe there could be another round of short covering. We'll keep an eye out on all these factors. One stock I'm watching out for today is PNB. It's entered F&O ban. There are a lot of stocks which are currently in F&O ban. With a lot of short positions in the system now, longs out of the way, the GIFT Nifty indicating a bump up. Let's see where we go today.
Okay, all right. So that's the market setup. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in and telling us what to expect from our market cues today. We'll slip into a break. Up next, the much-awaited Ola Electric mobility shares will list on the exchanges today. More on this when we return. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Power Breakfast. Let's talk about the primary market. The much-awaited Ola Electric mobility shares will list on the bourses today. The company received over 4 times the number of bids for the shares of offer. Earlier this week, we spoke to the chairman and managing director, Bhavish Agrawal, and asked him about the EV maker's path to profitability.
Just wait for our Q1 results, which will be out soon after the listing on 9th August, and you will get to see the financials then. But thematically, if I tell you, if you look at our business in FY24 over FY23, we grew revenue 90%. And our revenue in FY24 ended up at around 5,300 crores. So this shows you the kind of improvement the financials already in the public domain showcase. And this is because, in manufacturing businesses, there are 2 themes I want to leave with your viewers here. In manufacturing businesses, as you grow scale, and we've seen very significant volume and revenue growth, your cost structure, the factory investments, etc., don't scale linearly with it. In the EV era, the cell is the heart of the vehicle. And hence, 4 years ago when we began this company, we decided to focus on making our cell in-house. And if you look at the amount of cost contributed by the cell, if a vehicle costs 100 rupees, the cell costs about 30 or 35 out of that. This is like an average across multiple companies. The entire margin that global cell companies make, as well as a 5% duty that cells have when they come into India, all of that money we will save when we start using our own cell in our vehicles. Step by step, all that margin on 30% cost, assume saving 20-30% margin, all of that will eventually come into our books. Overall, scooters today is about, let's say, 1/3 of the two-wheeler market. The two-wheeler market is 20 million. The scooters is 7 million. So if you say in 2 years, 30% is electric. So that's about 2 to 3 million in just scooters. Motorbikes will begin their journey when we launch our products later this year because there are no other good quality products in the market.
Okay, that is one listing we'll be watching out for sure. And tune into CNBC TV 18 for all those updates. We'll slip into a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about all the updates in the Paris Olympics on the other side. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. It's time to get you the latest update on the political turmoil in Bangladesh. Nobel laureate Mohammad Yunus took oath as the chief advisor to the interim government 3 days after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was forced to quit and flee the country following violent protests. Yunus, who arrived in Dhaka from Paris, urged the citizens to remain calm and appealed to get ready to build the country. In a social media post, Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Yunus and ensured India's commitment to working with Bangladesh. He also highlighted the need to ensure the safety of Hindus and other minorities in the country. Okay, let's move on and get you the updates now from the Paris Olympics. Neeraj Chopra, the face of Indian athletes, won silver medal in the men's javelin throw final at the Paris Olympics. This is India's first silver medal at the Olympics, and with this, Neeraj Chopra becomes the third Indian after PV Sindhu and Sushil Kumar to win individual medals at 2 Olympics. The men's hockey team also had their fairy tale ending at the Olympics by winning a bronze medal for the second consecutive time. Meanwhile, the Indian Olympic Association has requested additional time to appoint a lawyer for Vinesh Phogat's appeal before the Court of Arbitration for Sports, and the hearing on plea now has been rescheduled to tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay, on that note, we will wrap on Power Breakfast today, but stay tuned. Bazaar Morning Call comes up next.